So hello folks, it's 13th of November. It's really sunny. I think they're saying it's going to be 18 degrees today, which is unseasonably warm for us. A few jobs on. I'm just off to feed the cows now. I'm going to tell you more about that in a bit, but we're going to bring them in soon and take the calves off and some of the young stock, and probably replenish some of the batteries on the collars. Also today we're going to turn the Cheviot tups to the Swaledale sheep, so I'll do a separate video about that, and then also there's another batch of sheep to move as well, so a busy few hours. See you in a bit. So I've just fed the cows some hay. The last video they're just up on the top of that hill, just on the horizon there, and they've gradually moved their way down onto here. So I have fed them on some rushy area. It is quite wet today, quite wet underfoot, but there is a good amount of sward, if you will, a lot of old dead grass, which just helps hold the sward together, so they're not making too much mess. Our climate, for those who follow Regen in America, I know obviously there's loads of states in America and the weather is very varied. I do follow Greg Judy, so any of you who watch these videos, if you really want to watch a guy who does a lot with his cows and outwintering, Greg Judy is certainly a good place to visit and subscribe to. Also Sean O'Fallon, I think he's called, in Ireland. He does similar to what we're doing, I think. He's west of Ireland, I think, probably quite a wet climate as well. And so a lot of the Regen Ag stuff, it's about making it fit your environment. So both with the stock, but also with the climate. So I think Greg Judy, he has a lot more extremes of temperature than we do. He'll have cold winters, a lot hotter summers. And so in the UK and Ireland, I think we're quite fortunate really, a very temperate climate. We're not in a brittle environment at all, so that means that, you know, it's not sort of any risk of turning into desert anytime soon. We get plenty of rainfall, but I think most people will agree the climate has changed, the weather patterns do seem to have altered, and so we should never take rain and water for granted. And the likes of Greg Judy and a lot of other Regen followers, a lot of it is about, in the more arid climates, is about being able to retain that water, so when they do have rain, they've enough grass and soil sort of armour, and sort of because of the management there's a lot more pore structure in the soil, that when it does rain they're able to retain that water, so they can continue to grow grass when their neighbours, for example, may not be able to because of that retained moisture. So a lot of it, especially on the Greg Judy videos, are about actually keeping that water on your farm. And so by default, yeah, you help your water cycle, and it's like a win-win all round. But obviously in our climate, usually rainfall isn't an issue. Perhaps it is an issue, but in the other way around, we perhaps at times seem to get too much rainfall. But even in the south of UK and even to the east of here, it has been a very dry summer, and a lot of people have had no grass. So consequently, you know, a lot of people have suffered this year and have had to feed a lot of made hay and silage, which has been made for their winter rations. They've had to feed it through the summer to keep the stock healthy and keep them thriving. So the plan with these cows, I had a little discussion with my brother the other day. We have got quite a number here, and even though we are keeping the calves on the cows for longer, I think there will come a point where we're going to take the calves off and some of the stirks. Two reasons really. Again, don't like bringing stuff inside. I'd like to keep more outside, but we're in a period of transition, and we don't have as much as stockpiled forage as I'd like, and also in this wet climate, you know, and the types of grasses, a lot does seem to die off. But say we're in transition, so hopefully as the grass species kind of alter and adapt, we might be able to carry more forage into winter. So the plan is later on this week we're going to do quite a big cattle move to the far side of the farm, and then we're going to run them a mile down the lane to another farm where we have, and there's a large building there where we can separate the cows and calves, and the calves will come inside, and then the cows will, once weaned from the calves, they will come back up. That's a good opportunity for us just to check the cows. Most of these cows have been scanned in calf. However, there were one or two which it was probably a little bit too early to tell. So we've made a note of those. So it's a good opportunity for us to check those few cows have got in calf. Also, we can replenish any collars with low batteries, give them a clean off, and obviously make sure all the cows have suitable working collars, so we can send them back out and sort of manage their grazing better, if you will. The cows are really content, they're enjoying the hay, and yeah, the hay helps us prolong, or helps us, or allows us to keep more stock through the winter. We should destock, and it's a difficult, you know, you have to find your stocking rate for your farm, for your environment. So we're probably okay at the moment, but if I guess we're acting early now to make sure we have enough forage for through the winter, and obviously enough hay to help us eat that winter out. We could destock, but at the moment it seems to work pretty well. It's a balance, because in summertime we seem to get lots of grass, and it's just being able to manage that grass, manage that stockpile, and it's a learning curve all the time, and you set off with a plan, and I think one of the key things is being able to adapt that plan. So the cows are just there. I'm just having a look now at where they've just been grazing. So they've been grazing this slope here, and hopefully you can see on the video the amount of cow pats we have. And I know a lot of farmers, you know, we have slurry tankers, we spread slurry, we store it, we pay diesel, we have lots of expensive tractors. And yeah, that's how agriculture has been. But if you can see all these cow pats, there's no slurry tankers here, there's no tractors, it's just natural distribution of muck. And if you look at, because the cows grazing has been managed in such a way, we're getting a high distribution of cow muck, cow urine, and so hopefully the idea is that'll benefit the land. As you can see, again, it's getting a little bit in depth, but you can look at the cow pats. They're all in good, well-formed cow pats. Later on in the winter, when they're on harder ground, if you start getting cow pats which are like 4 or 5 inches tall, you know, 10 centimeters tall, and that's a sign of lack of protein, maybe too much fibre in the diet. So, and that's another thing why we feed hay on this green grass. I know I've mentioned it in previous videos. It just helps keep the consistency better. So if they're just on the grass, yeah, they go through it quicker, but also the cow pats will be more loose, and the cows sort of probably less able to utilise the protein and the energy in those grasses, because the transition through the rumen is too quick. So by feeding hay as well as the stockpile forage just here in this environment, in this climate, at this current time, we can see that the cows are having really good rumen function. They should be putting on condition to help them get through the winter. They're still obviously milking the calves as well, but the cow pats as far as cow packs go, I think they look pretty well. So I think the cows are on a good diet at the moment. Whatever we're doing at the moment seems to be working well. One thing about some of the higher ground we have is, even though it doesn't always grow a lot of grass, it is pretty dry, and the amount of rain we've had recently, it's nice to have some nice dry slopes for the cows to graze, because you can barely see a footprint on here. I do accept where the cows are now, just in that rush. There's a little bit of pugging going on, but we're putting hay down again. There's a lot of trampling going on, and they're only going to be there, well, literally today. So we're not, I think people worry about outwintering cows, and I think a lot of the issue is if you leave cows in any one area for an extended period of time, that soil armour kind of soon gets damaged, and the pugging gets deeper and deeper, and soon the cows are up to the bellies in muck, and that's the ruination of land, and also the cows, you know, it's not always best for the cows in that environment. But yeah, a little bit of pugging going on because it's been so wet, but they just, you know, they're there today and gone tomorrow, and I think that's, well, you know, keep them moving. So referring back to Greg Judy again, you know, one of his favourite sayings is move them, you know, keep them moving, and that's the key really, keep them moving, and probably the greater key than that is to have as much of your land resting and recovering as possible. That's why people mob them up, so put as much livestock groups together as you can, so stirks, cows, calves, you know, whatever you can manage, try them in larger, less mobs, and then the percentage of your farm recovering at any one time is as high as possible to allow the soil and the roots to recover. So as ever, I keep moving the water. So this trough has just been here for one day. We are on a dry, top of a dry slope, and so they've not made much mess at all. Again, if I can come back here in 3 or 4 months' time, you'll probably notice, you know, it'll be quite visible that this is an area where we've had the water trough. Because all the trampling, cow muck, high impact of the cows will sort of rejuvenate this area, and will probably be a circle of quite dark green grass once it's had its suitable recovery. So yeah, always try and move the water, and so I'm just gonna move it just a few yards. There's no rush just here, so I'm just gonna put it on another dry knoll. But obviously, yeah, I do try and put it when it's reasonably dry on rush, and then it can ensure that it gets a good trampling. There's a trough filling again. A few people have asked about the troughs. I think they're really good. I'm amazed the cows have had access to clean water. Look at that cow, fit as punch, and it's like, yeah, she recognises I've moved the trough, and so she immediately comes to drink, even though she's had really good access to it. She's not taking any harm. So people talk about the magic triangle, or the death triangle even, sorry. That's that area. Oops, just moving there. Just to see if it's an indication if the belly's full. So just forward of that. I don't know if you can see with my hand there, just the triangle is that area there. And when it's hollow, that's a good sign that the stomach's not full enough, and obviously the cows will start going backwards, if you will, whereas these cows look fit. This stirk's just coming here, he's no triangle, his belly's full. A lot of it's about keeping the bellies full, keeping that rumen working, keeping the gut bacteria working really. That's what it's all about, the gut bacteria. That's what drives everything. But yeah, aren't these cows amazing? Just move the trough about 10 yards and they all want to come for a drink. And the water was pretty clean. Well, it was clean, the water I've just tipped out, but yeah, it's just something new. And amazing. I'm just going to stand here for a minute until they give the trough a chance to fill up. But they shouldn't be thirsty because they've had access to water. It probably is because they've just finished the hay actually, and just come for a quick drink. So no, the cows are looking really well. And for those who ask about the lings, they're a small to medium framed cow, so they're not a big cow. They're really placid, docile, and yeah, they're good to work with. I guess the only issue with them is when we do have to handle them through the crush, they can be a bit wooden, a bit stubborn to actually drive through the cow setup, just because they seem that laid back. But no, I do like them. So finally folks, I'm just showing you some grass here. The cows are in here about 7 or 8 days ago, and I don't know if you can see, but the regrowth is pretty amazing. To say it's 13th of November, it's really just rotting back up green again. So it's partly due to the mild weather, and that's one thing about Regen Ag, it's learn and try and like read the land and read what it's telling you. So yeah, the mild weather, the soil's still probably got temperature in there, we've not really had any frosts. But also this grass, before we grazed it, hadn't been grazed for about 3 or 4 months. So what I'm thinking is it's actually because of that, the root structure has been able to grow so much. And so yeah, referring to Greg Judy style management, that's probably more a leaf driven recovery, whereas another facet of Regen Ag, what I've spoke about before, is actually a root driven recovery. And I think because the roots are allowed to grow so much, you have a lot more root reserve, and I think that's what part of this regrowth is, probably this root driven recovery. And I just hope we can see it on the video, because it's pretty impressive really to say we're in the middle of November, and yeah, the grass is certainly still growing. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. I'll do another video later turning the tups to the hill sheep. And take care, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.